Welcome to the Theotherapist Podcast, where theologically trained, licensed therapists share health and healing conversations. Join our host, Dr. Catrice Glenn, for conversations about real-life issues from both theological and therapeutic perspectives.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Theotherapist Podcast. My name is Dr. Catrice Glenn. Today, I have the awesome honor of bringing in our whole Solace digital marketing team today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves so you'll know who they are. But they are with Solace Counseling doing an internship this summer, and they all bring such a wealth of knowledge, and they bring a lot of passion to the topic of mental health. And so this is just our opportunity to bring them into the conversation about mental health. I'm going to let each one introduce themselves, and we're just going to have an open dialogue and conversation about mental health. Sure.
Hi, my name is Jada. I'm the senior digital marketing intern here with Solace. I'm excited to be with the team.
Hi, I'm Melissa Simon. I'm a digital marketing intern as well, and I'm very excited to be here today.
Hi, my name is Lauren Higgins, and I am a digital marketing intern. I'm excited to have this conversation with the team.
Awesome. I'm so glad everybody's here. We just want to have an open conversation. One of the things that Solace Counseling and Consulting is proud to encourage in our communities is a open awareness and education about mental health, mental well-being, and just wellness in general. And so one of the things that I think is always important in these conversations about mental health is to try to figure out, what each of us brings to this dialogue. When we talk about mental health, everybody kind of comes to it from a different angle. Sometimes it's personal experiences. Other times it's from either having experiences with friends or family or loved ones. And sometimes it's just a concern for others who might be in need. And so one of the things I'm curious about with this team and that we could share with everybody else is, kind of what brings you to dedicate your time to promote to expanding mental wellness and mental well-being?
I decided to dedicate my time to a mental health community because I feel like mental health is just a very important thing, and I feel like sometimes it can be very overlooked to some people, so I love working with the mental health community and promoting it more.
I would say what brought me to it is that I'm very interested in things that are deeper than the surface. And mental health is something that definitely requires time and dedication to get to know, and it's very important in day-to-day life.
Me, mainly for the mental health, it was a big thing for me going into college, so I wanted to continue that journey on. I was part of a mental health community on campus, and I take it very to heart for me. It may hit home for me a little bit, but mental health, it plays a big part of my life.
Yeah, one of the things I think about, having been a college counselor before and done a lot of counseling with college students, I realize that there's sometimes factors that college students are dealing with that most people don't understand or they can't readily, kind of relate to. And so I'm curious for you guys, what factors do you think are the most important in maintaining your mental health while you're either going through college or just young adulting?
I feel like with maintaining my mental health, I feel like one thing that always helps me is just making sure to go outside every single day instead of being stuck inside of my apartment and doing schoolwork or just work in general. I feel like going outside, even just taking my dog on a walk or just going on a walk by yourself can be very helpful.
My biggest thing is maintenance, whether that be self-care maintenance, house maintenance, or anything, because when you take care of your space, when you take care of the inside of you, eventually you'll end up being pretty okay. So,
nice. How about you, Jada? What do you think is important?
I guess I would agree with Melissa and Lauren because it is important to have that time for yourself and to go out and be in a different space. It doesn't necessarily have to be outside, but if you like to be outside, I know there's some people that don't. But I think it's best to go to a different space. And I don't mean another part of your house. No, I mean actually going out into a different space, different energy, something that's not of you that you're comfortable with. I think that does play a very big role.
You know, and actually I've recommended that to all of my clients, kind of all the things that you guys have said. Get outside, you know, make sure you have intentional space in your home that is a space where you can sit down and relax and kind of reconnect and get grounded. Make sure you get outside, like you find something, you know, you find a place that replenishes you. You guys know my favorite thing to do is to ride in my convertible with the top down and thank the Lord for that blessing. But it is something that I love because it's not just vitamin D, but it allows me to kind of reconnect to the outside and get outside of my head. Oftentimes with mental health, we have so many things that we are dealing with and juggling at one time, is that we need to sometimes just break away from whatever the routine is. That break away from the routine just sometimes is enough burst, a spark, to kind of create something new for us. One of the other things that I love about what we do here at Solace Counseling is we are advocates for mental health, mental wellness, but we are also advocates to try to stop the stigma of getting help with your mental health. So many people are still holding on to, I don't need a therapist, I don't want to go to therapy, I don't want to talk about it. And the problem with that, though, is you suffer in silence. You suffer for prolonged periods. So we created this advocacy campaign here at Solace, and it's called I Define Strong. I Define Strong reminds us that you don't get to just sit down and go, I'm being strong by, you know, holding on to all this pain and this grief and this suffering. How about let your strong be, I decide to do something different. I decide to have the courage to get some help. I decide that I'm going to be someone who's going to try a new method to deal with strength. Strength's not going to be I take everything that everybody pours on me and I ball up in a corner somewhere and I say, I'm okay. That's not a good long-term strategy. What do you guys think about the I Define Strong kind of initiative?
Well, I will say, growing up in the places that I have been, I definitely think that it's important that women don't think that being strong means that you have to be independent and by yourself all the time. And it's okay to want help. It's okay to want somebody else to kind of help you get through things.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I totally agree with Lauren. I feel like getting help can even be just talking to your friends or your family. It doesn't necessarily have to be a counselor or anyone. I feel like just talking to your friends and your family is a very big aspect. It helps.
Support system matters a lot.
They kind of hit it on the nail. I mean, I don't know too much other than that. I mean, other than journaling, I mean, it does help to
That's a big one.
Yeah. But, I mean, that's the only other thing I can think of right now is journaling.
And I do think, you know, one of the things that we have to do is combat the stigma that says it's not okay to be not okay.
Yeah.
I think if we can be honest with ourselves that everybody at some point in their life have a time, a period, a season when things just are not okay. And if you can be honest about that, then you can do something about it. And a part of that is recognizing that you don't have to stand behind the facade of being strong. It's that facade that just keeps us kind of in illness longer than we need to be. And so it's really important to have conversations like this. I also wonder, though, for you guys, I'm in the mental health field. I have these conversations all day. If you guys are dealing with folks on a day-to-day basis, what do you think is missing from the conversation of mental health that people, you know, might not readily be paying attention to?
I would say connections.
They mean a lot.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people of today, when it comes to handling connections, they kind of struggle a little bit, which kind of makes people kind of leery when it comes to mental health and caring about others' mental health as well. So I think that's a conversation a lot of people need to have of how to create healthy connections, whether that be platonic, romantic, or, you know, business.
I do think that's a big struggle for so many people because, you know, as they say, social media connects us enough to be disconnected.
Yes.
So that, you know, we're kind of, I can connect to you by text, but then I have a hard time talking to you in person. And that has a lot to do with vulnerability, right? So connection is about vulnerability, being open, being willing to sit with someone and say, hey, this is actually who I am. This is the authentic me, not the glossed up version, you know, not what I decided to type to you and tell you I'm thinking, but when I'm actually laughing out loud versus when I just wrote, I'm laughing out loud. Right? There's something about being able to be genuine and authentic that enhances connection, but it's necessary. And I think so many people feel so isolated because they're struggling to maintain connections. And I think that's important. What else in the conversation you think is kind of missing? Or just not talked about a lot?
I feel like one thing that a lot of people just don't think these specific types of people go through are like athletes and like college athletes. I feel like people just like overlook them because maybe they're making like money to them, but like I feel like their mental health just isn't talked about enough because college athletes, they're going through school and then they have to go to workouts at 5 a.m. and probably until 10 p.m. And I feel like that's just very overlooked, and I feel like people should see that more.
Yeah, I'm really hoping that as we continue to make it more commonplace for everybody to have mental health initiatives in all of their programs, that programs that deal with like athletes and deal with like student leaders, all of those programs will be intentional to say, hey, this is what mental wellness might look like for you who had to get up at 5 a.m. or who doesn't get to have kind of the traditional college experience because you have all these other demands on your life, right? Sure enough, you're getting a scholarship, but at the end of the day, I mean, your body's getting beat up for a price.
Right.
And so, what do you need, and the performance that you're required to do, the level of performance matters. And so all of those different stressors just make it unique, and each one of us has our own struggle, right? So I think it's important to bring that conversation, more to the forefront, because there are all types of niches that don't get their mental wellness looked at, and they don't have intentional programming. And I think would be important to address that. What are you thinking over here, Jada? Who's missing in this conversation, or what's missing?
Honestly, anybody taking care of anybody. You can be from a child,
caregivers.
or it can be from the elderly. I mean, dealing with somebody else's child or parent or whatever they may be to you, to them, that's a lot. And I've actually had to go through that maybe twice in my life now. I've lost both. I lost my grandfather, I lost my grandmother. I still have one grandparent still living. So, going through those transitions of Alzheimer's and taking care of somebody that you looked up to, as you grew up. And then for Dr. Glenn, it may be a little different because that could be your mom per se, that's our grandmother per se. So it's a lot that goes into just taking care of somebody that you see deteriorating in front of you.
It is.
I can add on to that as well, because my great grandmother, she just got diagnosed with dementia not too long ago, and I can definitely see what you mean. Like, having to see somebody else like that is kind of a very
somebody that's been in your life
this
long. Now they don't really remember you too much.
Yes.
It's sad. It takes away from you.
Yeah, it does. It's very troubling.
And it speaks so much, and that is such a prevalent topic in today's society. I'm glad that more people are starting to be intentional and looking at caring for caregivers. I've had an opportunity to speak on a couple of different workshops that try to talk about how to get self-care for the caregiver, because they get so hyper-focused on caring for their loved one that sometimes they neglect themselves. They neglect their own mental and physical well-being, and then now they need someone caring for them because they've allowed themselves, unfortunately, because of what they're doing, to kind of deteriorate. And as someone whose grandmother had Alzheimer's, and kind of watching her deterioration and watched her daughters then have to level up, and what that took, and the resources and the time and the attention, I do hope that as we continue to have conversations like this, more people will be intentional to make sure they provide resources for caregivers. Because caregivers usually feel like they're in isolation. They feel like they're just the only one out here doing it. I have to do it. This is my mom, this is my dad, this is my grandma, this is my whoever. And so when they feel like they're in isolation, they feel like they don't have help. And they often don't want to talk about it because they're like, okay, well, I can't quote unquote complain, but you can get help. You don't have to do it alone. And so I know this conversation is just scratching the surface. We are just sharing some thoughts. I'm going to give them an opportunity to just do some round robin for a second. But I'm glad this is the first of the conversations we'll probably have over the summer about mental health. But I want to introduce you all to this awesome team of digital marketers. We're talking about mental health right now, but check out all of the platforms that Solace Counseling and Consulting is on. If you see anything, if it's a video, if it's an image, if it's a photo, it's them. They did it. They did it. It might have my name on it. It may have Solace's name. It may have the Theotherapist podcast name on it, but it's them. It's them that did it. And so I am thankful that we have a digital marketing team that also has a passion for making sure that mental health and mental wellness gets pushed and promoted to the forefront. They could market anything. They could market cans of Coke. They could market tires, but they're choosing to help us better promote the concept of mental wellness. And so I'm thankful for that. I'm going to let you all kind of sign off in whatever way you want to sign off, and just let them know you'll see them again this summer.
Yeah, we definitely will.
Oh, man. Well, it's been, no, I'm just playing.
And they have jokes. They have lots of jokes. If they hang around me, they got some jokes.
It's been real. It's been your girl. Oh, I'm sorry. I really have been doing that lately. Sorry. Again, my name is Jada Little. I'm the Senior Digital Marketing Intern with Solace and Consulting.
My name is Alyssa Simon, and I'll probably be seeing you guys soon.
Yeah. Bye, guys. It's Lauren. I'm also very thankful to have this conversation with you guys.
Awesome. All right, one podcast out.
Theotherapist Podcast, real talk at the intersection of theology and therapy. Check out Dr. Glenn's new journal series titled Brain Dump Journals for the Busy, available on Amazon. Visit our websites for more information at thetheotherapist.com or catriceglenn.com.